Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Cairo, Egypt is huge, and people who visit have a lot of questions. As with any tourist destination, you have to eat well when you're traveling. I have lived in Cairo. I've lived in several different neighborhoods in Cairo. I've been to touristy places. I've been to holes in the wall that you might think twice about going into. So here are 5 restaurants that are actually worth a visit when you visit the city of Cairo and Giza. And stay tuned because I'll throw in some bonus restaurants as well as places that you really don't want to go to, no matter what you hear. Okay, restaurant number 1, Abou Tarek. Egypt is famous for a dish called Koshary. It's unique, it is loaded with carbohydrates, and honestly, it slaps. It fills you up. It's a great thing to just stuff in your face. What's in Koshary, you may ask? Let's go. Macaroni, lentils, vermicelli, rice, chickpeas, fried onions on top, and then a mixture of garlic sauce, tomato sauce, and a little bit of spice. Everybody's gonna be asking, oh, have you had the koshary? You must have this koshary. There are lots of places that serve koshary. Lots claim to have the best koshary. I've tried enough of them for you. Don't waste your time going anywhere but Abou Tarek. You can go in there, you can watch the guys working there, throwing the dishes together, serving up the koshary kind of at the window in the front. It's very lively. There are multiple floors, kind of weird green decorations. It's good vibes all around. There are several locations in Cairo, but just go to the one downtown. Don't get it to go, get a table. There are about 3 or 4 sizes of koshary. There's small, medium, or large. It may be also based on the price, and since Egypt has had lots of inflation, I'm not sure exactly what the prices will be. It's gonna be about $1 to $2, maybe a little bit more. What I used to get was a large with extra onions. Basal extra. Whatever size you get, you gotta get a Pepsi, and it's up to you if you wanna spring for the rice pudding at the end of the meal, or as they call it, roz bileban. The only thing that you gotta be careful about with Abou Tarek is that if the guy who's pretty bald is serving you on the 2nd floor and he asks you for more tip, you hold your ground. You tip a little bit and you're good, okay? I'm talking to you, man. They take credit cards, and a large, when I was there, was something like 25 pounds for just a giant bowl of good stuff. Do not waste your time going to any other koshary places because some of them are really bad. So now we're going to the other side of the River Nile for number 2. Prince, or Kibdet al Prince, or Mat'am al Prince. Lots of names, but just remember, Prince, okay? If you get in an Uber or a taxi and you say, we're going to Prince, they'll know where to take you. Prince is an iconic restaurant that basically everybody in Cairo knows, located in the neighborhood of Mbaba. However, you should be careful because on Uber, there are several locations that are called Prince. And if you're not careful, you'll end up very confused. This has happened to me myself, and I also sent somebody my location. It wasn't the right location. Let's just say a little bit of a conflict ensued. So just confirm the location before you head over there. Prince is a very cool experience, and even though it's in a more lower middle class area, a little more hectic, not as pristine as, some parts of Cairo, you don't have to worry about being robbed. Theft in Cairo is generally, the rates are very low, so nobody has guns. You will be safe to go there. The restaurant kind of bleeds out into the street. There's tons of tables, really long ones, and you usually share these tables with other people. You'll definitely be facing the people in your party. When you get there, it can be overwhelming. You find the guy with the microphone and you go over there and somebody's gonna be handing out tickets. And the guy with the microphone is gonna be reading these tickets out loud. You tell them how many in your party and then you get a ticket. Here's the problem, if you don't speak Arabic, the numbers that they're reading out might be a little hard to understand. But if you stay close enough and you make it clear that you're a foreigner who doesn't really understand, they'll probably will help you. And you could even use probably some Google Translate stuff to learn how to pronounce the numbers so that you can hear when your table is being called. But they'll probably look out for you if you're a foreigner. The menu at Prince is the placemat, and it's all in Arabic, really small print, and even for somebody who has a decent knowledge of Arabic, all that little squiggly writing can be very overwhelming. I'll give you a few dishes that you have to try, and then maybe you can ask the waiter what you should order additionally. The number 1 dish at Prince is molokhia. Molokhia is a plant, it's a green plant. They make a soup out of it. It's kind of slimy. It doesn't look the most appetizing, but it's loaded with garlic. Yeah, it really looks awful, but when you dip bread into it, it is really, really, really good. And this place is renowned for its liver. It's called Kibda the Prince. Kibda is liver. And you may be asking yourself, oh, but Rashad, it's called Kibda. Why don't you get the liver? F liver. I hate that stuff. You can order it if you want. I'm not touching it. I'm not even gonna look at it. I am not a liver guy. After the molokhia, you can get some baba ghanoush. Then feta. Feta is kind of rice with meat and some pita chips baked in there in a little clay pot, and there's some sauce with it. It's very good. I personally like akawi. Akawi. I think it's oxtail. It's in a very rich sauce, so it's gonna be sweet. There's gonna be some marrow, very tasty, and you can get an order of rice. You can call it a day. After this, you get your sodas. You can ask the waiter, are there things that you recommend? When I was there, they started serving us lots of interesting things on toothpick, parts of the animal that, I don't know, I ate some camel. There's a lot of stuff on the menu if you really want to get interesting. Also, the Prince owner might be there, or at least someone who seems to be the owner. Last time I went, got my picture with him. You can see it here. It was pretty cool. I think it was him, or at least people were getting their picture with him. Number 3, this restaurant is probably not going to appear on many tourist lists, and that's why you're watching my channel. Kebabji Bibani. I just want to mention that if you're digging the content, if you're liking what I'm saying, you're liking the vibes, you're liking the intent, subscribe to the channel, throw me a like, and make sure to turn on notifications because it really helps the channel. Bibani is known for its meats, hence the name Kebabji. They got kebabs. There is tons of seating outside, and there is a guy butchering meat right in front of the door of the restaurant alongside the tables. It's very difficult to get fresher than this. Also, there are some beautiful, succulent, roasting chickens right next to the door and right next to the guy cooking the meat. So it's a beautiful sight, honestly, if you're into meat. It's got a very local feel, and in the evening, after a hot day, the breeze up there feels really, really nice. The menu itself is pretty similar to that of Prince, but it does just have really good meat. Here's what you can get at Bibani. Niva. I didn't know what it was when I was eating it, but I found out later that it's a type of goat or sheep, I don't know. Oh my goodness, this is some of the most tender, flavorful meat I have ever eaten in my life. It's awesome. You can get tarb. Tarb, from what I've been told, is ground meat, like kofta, combined with lamb fat and then wrapped in a little bit more lamb fat and then grilled. So all the flavor from the fat soaks into the meat, keeping it really moist. It's super good, very delicious. And then you can get some traditional, staples you might be more familiar with. You can get kofta, you can get rice, you can get some sides, baba ghanoush, you can get some pickled vegetables. I think they may come with the meal, I'm not 100% sure. And then you can ask the waiters what they think. Since this is not a touristy place at all, I would be very skeptical if you get upsold. Visiting Bibani after a long day of more interesting tourist visits would be a fantastic way to spend a day in Cairo. Visiting the monastery of St. Simon and the cave church, as well as Medinat Azabaliyin, the garbage city where people sift through garbage and make their living off of it. Number 4. While you can get this dish at many different places in Cairo, stuffed pigeon can be really nicely enjoyed at Farhat. It is strategically located in Khan al-Khalili, the big market. I assume if you're going to Egypt, you'll probably go there. Side note, if you get scammed at Khan al-Khalili, it's not a big deal. Everybody does. Also, it's close to Al-Azhar Mosque. It's also close to Al-Azhar Park and the Hussein Mosque, so lots to see. If you plan a day out of seeing these sites, Farhat would be a great place to cap off the day and eat dinner. So I'm not just giving you restaurants, I'm structuring some days for you. So they have a lot of other things there, but they definitely specialize in stuffed pigeon. Probably for your average person, it may sound disgusting, I don't know, because pigeons, we think dirty cities, dirty animals, but I gotta tell you, it's really tasty. It's pretty light. It's not a ton of meat in general. The rice that it's stuffed with is really, really nicely spiced. And honestly, I'm getting pretty hungry thinking about it. They do have some soup, I think, that goes with it, so you can ask about that. And like the other places that I mentioned, you can always get sides, you can get a Pepsi, and you can just ask people even at the table next to you. You're gonna find that your average Egyptian is a really, really nice person who wants to help you. They may try to help you too much and it may be a little overbearing, but a lot of people really wanna help you. Number 5, if this video were a video game, this restaurant would be like the final boss. It's tricky because of the location. I don't know the name of the restaurant. I don't even know if it has a name. I tried finding it on Google Maps. It's in the neighborhood of Shobra, a very working class area with almost no tourists going there. It's safe, but it's just very Egyptian. It's honestly a good place to go if you're interested in seeing just how the average Cairo resident lives. Plus, you're gonna have one of the best meals of your life, and also for like pennies. I will tell you what you get there, and then we'll backtrack on how to get there. They have combos, I believe. The one I got was a quarter chicken, lightly fried, with vegetables and sauce, bread, soup, and a bowl of rice. 5 things, I think. It was delicious and super fresh, and I'm telling you, it was like $2. Every time I went there, I was stuffed. The environment, definitely a hole in the wall. It's all men. There are 2 older guys who are cooking, and there are like 3 small tables. It seems like where a lot of single men would go to eat if they weren't married or didn't have somebody cooking for them at home. And for you average tourists, this is great because this is one of the few times you have access to a home-cooked meal in Egypt. And from my experience, home-cooked meals blow restaurant meals out of the water. It's like night and day the difference. So now we get to the difficult part. How to get there. It's about a 10-minute walk from Cairo's train station, or the Ramses train station. If you're facing the train station, you're gonna go to your left and you're gonna find Koshary Abou, or the Lemon Bridge. If you ask anybody at the train station where Koshary Abou is, they'll know. You're gonna cross that bridge, and it's the first big street on the left. I believe it's called Gazirat Badran. Once you turn left, you are going to pass a cafe called Kulsum on your right. It's maybe a little bit past Kulsum Cafe, like 50 feet max. I've included a link to the closest geographic location on Google Maps I could find in the description. If you can find that location, you should probably, after walking back and forth a couple of times, you should be able to find it. It may be a bit out of your comfort zone to go here, but I think the combination of the unreal food that you will eat and the benefit of seeing an incredibly typical Egyptian neighborhood, it will make the benefit of the experience dwarf any anxiety or discomfort that you will have maybe in the moment. Now here's the bonus round. Here's some restaurants that didn't quite make the top 5, but are really, really good. Bahia. If you've been in Cairo long enough to go crazy from the traffic and the noise and just all the craziness there, you can guarantee that Bahia will give you a calm, clean, tasty meal. It's in the neighborhood of Muhandisin on the Giza side of Cairo, and it's on the 2nd floor of a building near Sphinx Square, or Meydan Sphinx. It's in the same building, I believe, as like a wings restaurant. It's a little bit more on the expensive side than some of the places that I've mentioned in the video, but the food's good and very typical. Grape leaves, vegetables and sauce, chicken, kofta, some meat, nice soup. When I was living there and I was really struggling and kind of tired and just a little frustrated, I'd go to Bahia just to reset, and it really transformed my week sometimes. Sobhi Kabir. The food is very similar to Brint's. Maybe it's a little more upscale. You're not eating like directly in the street. Sobhi gets rave reviews. The reason I didn't put it in my list is that I've actually never eaten there myself, and so I didn't want to put a stamp of approval on something I haven't tried personally. If you go here though, again, you really can't go wrong. The vibes are great, very lively. They got kofta, molokhia. I think they have pigeon, sogo, Egyptian classics. Sobhi, I believe, is also in Shobra. Here's another place that definitely is not on many lists. Asian food in Cairo. Now you may think, what on earth do I want Asian food in Cairo for? Cairo has a few neighborhoods that are very heavily Asian with substantial immigrant groups from the Uyghur areas of China, Malaysia, and Indonesia. It seems to me, I'm not an expert, but it seems to me that these groups came originally to study at Al-Azhar University, one of the most prestigious and historic Islamic learning centers in the world. And as a result, these groups have formed communities after staying, and they've opened restaurants. Personally, I haven't explored these areas a ton, but I did go to GH Corner in Nasser City for Malaysian food, and it was just cool to see a very different subgroup of people living in Cairo, speaking Arabic. It really added to my understanding of the city. And then closer to Al-Azhar University, there are a lot of Indonesian restaurants. You can also try, and it's literally called this, Chinese Muslim restaurant, which is in Nasser City. That's a Uyghur restaurant. Okay, last, places you definitely should not go. You're gonna have a lot of people telling you, oh, you gotta go here, you gotta go here. If they mention any of these places, steer clear. Number one, Zuba. Especially with like wealthy people, they love going here. It's expensive and it's not that good. You can find much, much better, more interesting places. Number two, Aish Umelah. It's in downtown. Again, like people like to go there for brunch. Brunch is not really a thing in Egypt except for very certain classes of people. It's not bad, it's just, it's okay. Okay, last place that you really shouldn't go, a lot, depending on who you talk to, somebody may mention that the restaurant Baha is really good. It depends on who you're interacting with, obviously. Baha is like known for interesting cuts of meat. They use all the animal. You can eat lungs, you can eat tongue, you can eat the brain, you can eat the eyeballs of lamb and beef and stuff. I went there, it was awful. It was terrible. And we got ripped off too. So like, just skip it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you save these places because the first 5 that I mentioned, you really can't go wrong. You're gonna have a great experience. The other ones, if you have the time, and please don't go to any of the places I mentioned at the end.